Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something that's really been making waves online.
Yeah, what have we got?
It's called the Baby Daddy TikTok Challenge. Have you seen this?
I've heard about it. It sounds interesting.
Right. So the basic idea is uh, mothers are asking the fathers of their kids for like an extra $50.
Just 50 bucks.
Just 50. And then they record the reaction, put it on TikTok.
Ah, okay. The classic record the reaction challenge.
Exactly. And to get a handle on it, we're looking at a YouTube video. It's from the Crimson Cure channel called the Baby Daddy TikTok Challenge, Has Women Shook.
Has women shook. Okay, so quite a strong reaction suggested there.
Definitely. So our mission today really is to unpack the reactions people are seeing in those TikToks, but specifically through the lens of this YouTube commentary.
Got it. See what deeper meanings this commentator's pulling out.
Okay, so diving into that YouTube video, the commentator from the Crimson Cure, she doesn't really hold back.
No. What's their initial take?
Well, she seems genuinely taken aback, surprised, maybe frustrated is a better word.
Frustrated by what exactly? The dad's reactions.
Yeah. Apparently, a really common response when asked for the $50 is just, I don't have it.
Wow. For $50. That's, yeah.
Right? And the commentator jumps on that. She even presents this kind of hypothetical situation.
Oh, okay.
Like if she asked her child's father for just 50 bucks and he said no or couldn't provide it, she'd expect, concern, maybe even alarm. Like, is everything okay?
Ah, I see. So she's contrasting the reactions in the videos with what she feels should be the reaction, a baseline level of parental financial responsibility, maybe.
Exactly. It highlights some assumptions about that responsibility, for sure.
And does she give specific examples from the TikToks?
She does mention one clip, includes a bit of audio. It's a bit hard to hear. But basically, a mom asks for $50 on Cash App.
Okay. Standard request these days.
And the father's response is apparently hesitant.
Yeah.
He sort of stalls and then ends up offering just $20 instead.
Only 20. So not a flat no, but still.
Right. And the commentator uses that brief moment to suggest there's a bigger issue, a larger dynamic happening there.
So she's connecting these small interactions to something larger?
Yeah, absolutely. She sees this whole challenge as more than just, another internet fad.
How so?
For her, it's potentially like a wake-up call, especially for younger women, maybe those without kids yet.
A wake-up call about what? Choosing a partner?
Precisely. She frames it as providing this stark reality, I think was her phrase, about what co-parenting can actually look like. The financial side, the dependability or lack thereof.
That's quite a heavy interpretation for a TikTok challenge.
It is. And she gets really specific about the difficulties of co-parenting.
Okay.
She talks about situations where the parents maybe didn't really know each other that well before the baby came along.
Right. Or maybe they just plain don't like each other now.
Exactly. And she argues these TikToks are kind of showing the potential fallout, where even a small financial need like 50 bucks becomes this point of friction or impossibility.
It does make you wonder about the foundations of some of these co-parenting relationships that we're seeing glimpses of.
And the commentator sees a potential, maybe slightly optimistic, upside to the challenge, believe it or not.
Really? What's the upside to dad saying they don't have $50?
Well, she hopes it might act as a sort of deterrent, a warning sign against perhaps casual or maybe ill-considered parenthood.
Ah, so discouraging people from having kids lightly.
Kind of. She explicitly says she hopes it encourages women to focus more on finding husbands and building healthy homes, her words, rather than just having baby daddies.
Okay, so she's definitely drawing a line there between committed partnerships and less formal arrangements.
Very clearly. It's like she sees the trend as this public service announcement playing out in real time.
It's fascinating how these online trends can take on such weight.
And she connects it to something else, too. Remember that discussion a while back about being 21 and no kids?
Vaguely, yeah. That stirred up some feelings too, didn't it?
It did. And she links the two, suggesting both trends hit a nerve emotionally because they touch on these deep anxieties and, societal expectations around big life choices.
So choices about when to have kids or if versus choices about who to have kids with.
Exactly. Both seem to trigger strong reactions because they relate to family, relationships, life paths, all that heavy stuff.
That makes sense. Both tap into those underlying societal scripts, I guess.
Yeah. And, the commentator doesn't really let the women off the hook here either.
Oh, how so?
She makes a pretty direct link. She says these negative reactions from the fathers, the I don't have it or the hesitation, she argues that reflects back, maybe kind of harshly, on the women who chose those men as partners in the first place.
Ooh, that's putting a lot of responsibility back on the mother's initial choices.
It is. Her point seems to be that if a father is unwilling or unable to provide even that small amount after the child is here, it says something significant about the foundation of that relationship, the initial decision.
Hmm. It's a challenging perspective. I mean, does it account for circumstances changing? People lose jobs, relationships sour over time.
That's a really good point. The commentary focuses heavily on the initial choice. These TikToks are just snapshots, right? They probably don't show the whole complex picture of someone's life or financial situation at that exact moment.
True. A lot could be going on behind the scenes.
So let's try and sort of wrap up the key takeaways from this deep dive then.
Okay.
We've looked at this baby daddy TikTok challenge mainly through the eyes of this one YouTube commentator.
Right, from the Crimson Cure channel.
And her take is that this simple act, asking for $50, is actually revealing some potentially, well, quite troubling things about financial support, co-parenting dynamics.
Yeah, in some modern relationships, at least the ones being shown in these viral clips.
And ultimately, she reads this whole trend as a kind of stark lesson, maybe an unintentional one, for younger people.
A lesson about really, really thinking carefully about partner selection before deciding to have kids.
Absolutely. It's these usually private interactions suddenly being broadcast, and it's definitely, like the video title said, shaking some people up.
Yeah, it's causing quite a stir online.
Which kind of leads us to a final thought for you, the listener. When you see trends like this, where very personal stuff goes very public, what does it tell us? About how our expectations around parenting and partnership might be changing, or maybe about the sometimes harsh realities people face.
And how does seeing these private moments play out so publicly actually influence how we all think about family, about responsibility, about how families even get started these days?
It's definitely something to think about next time you're scrolling through your feed.